Will I be the asshole if I divorce my husband because he's homophobic?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We have 3 kids, and our eldest is gay.
Okay.
I have always known our son was different. I thought my husband knew too because he and our son were really close.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my friends have told me that their children become a little bit distant when they hit puberty.
Okay.
But not our son. Just a few weeks ago, they were playing basketball and playing chess basically every day and talking with each other nonstop. Everything was great until my son came out to him. It went very well when he came out to me, so my son saw his father would have the same reaction, and I saw the same. But after he came out to him, my husband came back along. I told him, how did it go? I asked him, how did it go, I guess.
Yeah.
He said, did you know? I couldn't believe the look he gave me.
Huh.
He looked very angry and just went to his office without saying anything. I called my son and he was crying and started to apologize to me about everything. I was so fucking angry, but instead of yelling at my husband, I just went to get him. When I found him, I really felt like crying. His eyes were red and he looked very sad. I never see him cry, so my heart felt like he was being squeezed.
Yeah.
He just said he was sorry. I kept driving for a while and then we went to eat pizza.
Okay.
I think she's talking about
The son.
the son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the husband is crying.
No.
Now my kids and I are staying with my father, and I'm thinking I should get a divorce.
That was extreme. Jesus. I didn't expect it to jump from pizza to staying with my
I don't know
father.
how, but I don't know like
nuts.
how I don't know how far she didn't. I don't know. Maybe that's
Let's see. Yeah.
I don't know
That's,
how far after they came out, and then she's staying with his father.
that's extreme.
Like how many days? Now my kids and I are staying with my father, and I'm thinking I should get a divorce, but it's not going to be easy at all. My son is definitely going to blame himself for this. He already has, and I heard all sorts of horror stories about divorce. My son told me we should go back and he can stay with my father. But I'm really starting to hate my husband for this. Why would he do this to me? Even if I decided to stay with him, I'm not sure our relationship is ever going to recover from this. If he truly loved our son, why would he react like that? Or did he react like that because he loves him too much and created unrealistic expectations of our son in his head? I was looking at some subreddit here, and it seems this sort of things end up ruining the whole family, so I'm very hesitant to do something I might regret later. She didn't say how old is the kid.
I thought he was 17.
No, she didn't say.
Oh.
The oldest is gay.
Oh. Well,
She didn't say how old she is either.
yeah.
Yeah, but she always saw. Okay, so she at the beginning she said, I have always known our son was different.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my husband knew too because he and our son were really close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like guys that really dad just doesn't think that.
Oh.
I don't know, your parents knew, right?
Well,
You growing up being different.
I was unique. I don't know if I was necessarily different. I was unique.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I guess the wife already kind of like know. Maybe she's just waiting for him to
Sure.
come out to her.
Sure.
But it sounds like the husband was like completely blindsided.
The fact of the matter is that I mean, this would be a great opportunity for therapy because that's really what they all need.
Yeah, that's why
I agree that
that's a little bit.
I agree that there's an issue between the dad and the son. It's the dad's issue, and the dad either needs to accept it and move on, or he needs to work through it, or yes, it would be the grounds for a divorce because at that point, she's going to take the kid away. But I think that there's got to be more in this that isn't written because I also don't think that the step from my kids coming out to my husband and it didn't go well, so I packed everybody up and now we live with my parents.
Yeah, so yeah, she said
think there's more in between that.
Yeah, the only
that isn't said.
Exchange they had was when she asked him, the dad, how did it go?
Yeah.
And he looked angry. I said, did you know? And he looked angry.
That's okay, fine.
And then she just packed everything out
and left. Yeah, there's.
I'm not thinking about divorce.
I think there's other issues that are in there that may have been bubbling below the surface for a divorce anyway. And then this is just one of the ones that snapped it up to the top and broke the back. But I mean, because I think that's extreme. I mean, now listen, if she had said in there, we tried to work through it, we went to therapy, they just have never had the same relationship again. I find myself being in the middle of it and I'm constantly mitigating the two of them. My son says one thing, the dad gets mad. I find myself always in the middle of it trying to play peacemaker. It's really putting a strain on my relationship with everybody else in the family. My stress levels are getting through it. Should I get a divorce? Well, okay. Yeah, at that point, there's you've tried to fix the problem in lesser ways first, and so fine, let's pull out the big tool at the end because it's not a good situation for anyone involved. But I don't think they've even tried.
Somebody top comment said, did you find out what he actually said to your son? Some stuff you can come back from and some you can't. So OP said that, not yet. He just told me his father yelled at him and told him to leave the car and left him in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. I mean, but the fact is that that's an issue between the dad and the son. And you know what? They may not ever be able to resolve that issue between the two of them. And I'm going to say it again, there's therapists for both of them that will be available throughout the rest of their life to help them work through their daddy-son issues.
Somebody said, putting the homophobia aside, that's a divorceable offense. There's pretty much no valid excuse for a parent to do that to a child. And he's saying, honestly, for leaving the son in the middle of nowhere. Kick him out of the car.
I mean, look,
honestly, for your son, if he asks if you are divorcing because he's gay, I would say no. I'm divorcing your dad because he yelled at one of my children enough to make them cry, kicked them out of the car, and let them alone in a manner that was unsafe. That is absolutely unacceptable behavior, and I'm not willing to stand by and risk him doing that to you or any his other kids again.
He didn't beat the kid. He didn't violate any child abuse laws. He literally just didn't react to the news very well. And obviously he didn't leave the kid in some place unsafe because the mother knew exactly where to go to drive to go pick the kid up.
So here it says, somebody mentions therapy. So they says this. He kicked the kid out of the car in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. If my husband didn't crawl on his knees begging my kid for forgiveness and go to family therapy, I would start the divorce proceeding immediately.
Sure.
No one, not even the father, will treat my kids like that.
Sure. So that's the exact same thing that I said. Therapy first and then divorce second if it doesn't work. Because the issue is unless there's other stuff there. And that's what I think is missing from this. She only is using the kids coming out as, the story as to why now she's considering a divorce. But that's an extreme jump. I mean, if you're having a good relationship with your spouse, even something as difficult as one of your kids coming out to you and you two having two different opinions on how that's going to impact you. If you have a good relationship, then the two of you can still work through your difference of opinion. She didn't even try to do that with him. There's no information here that says, after my kid came out and he said, did you know? I said, yes, I did. And he said, I can't believe it. That's totally unacceptable. That goes against our religion and we're all going to burn in hell. And she's like, well, I don't really believe that way. So maybe not. But let's sit and talk about it and figure out how we can come up with something between us and how we're going to deal with this. Because it's not going to go away. the fact of the matter is that she and he didn't try to find common ground between them to then help their son. And if you have a good relationship, I think you should be able to, even if you have differences of opinion on something. I think it's funny that these people so quickly jump to go to a divorce without having any concept of what it actually entails. I mean, the process of dividing your assets and trying to reach a custody agreement for these kids, because that's something that still is going to have to happen. This kid is still a minor. Okay, fine. So they go off and they go and get a divorce. Now she's going to do what? She's going to go into the court and say, I'm getting a divorce because my ex doesn't do well with my kid. Now she's going to have to bring in all of this information into court about why the kid is unsafe to go with the father.
Yeah,
because the court's still going to try and put a parenting plan in place that's going to have the kid go back and forth between the two households to maintain the relationship between the two parents. The problem here isn't the relationship between the mother and the father. The problem is the relationship between the father and the son, and a divorce doesn't fix that problem or doesn't address that problem, because in the divorcing process, the problem between the father and the son is still going to exist. And when the divorce is over, the problem between the father and the son is still going to exist. And worse, she's now on the outside of it. She's not even in the same household with him when he has to go over there.
People are really pissed that the husband kicked the son out of the car in the middle of nowhere.
I get it, but that's because everybody's writing from their own perspective. If we kick the son out of the middle of the car here in town, in the middle of farms, is it really that shocking of a thing? Now, if we kicked them out in the middle of the city somewhere, okay, different story. But I mean, everybody who hears he's getting kicked out of the car is automatically putting that scene into their surroundings. So that's why for me to hear it got kicked out of the car, I'm like, okay, what? Dropped him off at the cornfield around the corner? Okay, geez. You knew exactly where to go get him. You got in your car, you drove wherever you want, picked him up, big deal. But yeah, dropped him off in the middle of Center City, Philadelphia. Okay. Maybe that's not a place for a minor to be walking along on their own. But that's what these people are reacting to. He dropped him off in the middle of what? Like, oh, you dropped him off in the middle of Phoenix? South Phoenix? Are you kidding me? So.
Yeah.
But dropping him off in a small town, who gives a crap? Walk home. It's a mile away.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm not saying that the dad handled it well. The dad did not handle it well by any means, shape, or form. And how the dad handles it in the future and how the relationship with the dad turns out to be, like, that's all stuff that the two of them are going to have to tackle at some point, whether the mom stays married to him or not. That's why I said in the very beginning, well, the good thing is that there's therapy for both of them for their entire lives. It may not happen while the kid's underage, and if it doesn't, okay, she just needs to protect the kid as best she can. And if that's something that then the household becomes toxic and they can't live under the same roof and they're fighting, okay, well then all of that becomes grounds for a divorce. But his reaction to the situation and her picking the kid up and running away is not grounds for a divorce. I mean, she certainly can go through it if she wants, but that's an extreme reaction to a problem that's going to continue to exist after the divorce. The divorce will not fix the problem. So the divorce is unnecessary. What the problem is? The problem is now she sees a different side of her husband because of the way he treats his son. So now she doesn't want to be married to him. Okay, fine. Did you talk to him about that? Did you see if there's a common ground that the two of you can come together on? If he's hell-bent stuck in his ways and you're hell-bent stuck in your ways, then okay, fine. Then we get a divorce and we move on. Because we're clearly not going to change. We're both happy with who we are as a person. And sure, the son coming out may have been the catalyst for the situation, but no, I feel that that's an extreme reaction for a problem that's going to continue to exist. And she's not involved in the problem. The problem is between the son and the dad. It hasn't even hit her yet.
Yeah, that's true.
She's literally just sitting there watching it unfold. The problem is between the dad and the son. And until something happens where now there's a problem that exists for her, she's just being protective of the son. Okay, fine. I get that she's being protective of the son. But being protective of the son isn't going to fix the problem between the son and the dad.
I mean, she just can't go to the same bed with the homophobia.
Well, then that's something she has to talk to him about.
Yeah.
Be like, look, you know what? I just don't find you as attractive as I once did. And you know, I thought I could put this over. I thought I could put it aside for myself. I thought that maybe, you know, given time, you would cool off or come around, or you would change the way you're doing it. But here we are now, 6 months later, and it's still just as tense as it was the very first night. I feel that it's changed the relationship between not only just you and him, but it's changed the relationship between us. I'm torn. I love you both equally, but one of you needs me more than the other does right now. And I have to make a choice. And unfortunately, it's not you. I'm not going to turn my back on my kid. And so, I mean, again, there's your conversation down the road, and that's usually the ultimatum that you drop and say, so would you like to work on this? Should we go to a marriage counselor? Do you want to go to a therapist? Do you want to go to family counseling for something like this? These are issues that we didn't expect that we would have to deal with, but whether we expected it or not, we have to. So how would you like to go working through this to get it done, to resolve it? And if we can't, then we can't, you move on. And that's that. But like I said, no matter what the parents decide to do between themselves, the problem's still going to exist between the dad and the kid. And that's just something that they will have to resolve, or that they won't ever be able to resolve. You know, talk about it. Can you live with it? If not, is it truly a deal breaker? All right, if it's a deal breaker, then it's a divorce. But like I said, I feel that just, you heard me when you were reading it. I was like, wait a second. Wait, you went to pick him up from the cornfield, and now all of a sudden you're living at your parents' house? Like, did he beat him? Did he shoot him? Like, what happened? Like, where's the actual drama?
Yeah. It just started.
I mean, seriously,
And then it jumped to like
the extreme.
Yeah, extreme.
Honey, this is day one. This is day one, and you're already at level 10. Like, you wait until they butt heads with each other. Wait until they actually do have a fight. Wait until the kid decides one day he wants to bring home and show his dad his boyfriend, and the dad goes through the friggin' roof. There's your maybe we should pack up and go stay with mama and pop moments. Not, I picked him up out of the field because he didn't handle it very well.